they're planning and messing all the time.
You're like, I need to go somewhere.
Yes, I need to leave. I think I'll go to the business center.
Dick Rod.
Now,
I thought so.
Yeah, I got a note. But he said, that seemed right, that would be the case. Vic said, I wanted to give him the.
what's up, buddy? How you doing, sir? Good. How are you, sir? Very good. Excellent.
They don't want the disruption. Sending them and coming home, sending them and coming home.
I'll add 10%.
There's some other
Okay.
people.
Late fee.
Well, of course you have to.
I get it.
She's a little bum.
Oh, you need to get that over here. I mean,
Told her, what would be glad I did in your senior year, you know?
I know it.
I miss Duncan. How are you?
Lovely.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You look,
Man.
I do?
there you go.
Not at all.
Just be safe. Just look upset.
That's the reason.
Huh?
That's the reason.
39's no.
Talk about Tinker.
Oh, was it killing you?
Christine, I can't see you, so just let me know when you're ready.
Not cute.
You ready?
Oh, that never leaves you.
You brown noser.
Okay. We all here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the meeting. So I'm going to call the work session to order for July the 21st, 2020 at 5:32 p.m. Let me call the roll. Councilmember Nakamura,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Linda Mood,
Here.
Councilmember Wheat,
Here.
the mayor's here, Councilmember Dodson,
Here.
Councilmember Kelly,
Here.
Councilmember Rigney.
Here.
Well, we have an audience tonight. That's very good. Thank you for coming. We had to move in here, so we had enough room to socially distance. And so this is a work session right now from 5:30 to 6:30. Then we'll go into executive session, and then we'll come back out for our regular city council meeting. So welcome. We have 4 agenda items tonight. We're going to start off with the discussion of fee changes. Kyle?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Kyle Lester, Finance Director. Tonight we'll take a look at the recommended fee changes that our department directors have identified for the upcoming fiscal year. These changes would take effect, if approved, on October 1st of this year. So this is an annual part of our budget process. We always take a look at what we're charging to make sure that we're recouping our costs and keeping up to date with what those charges should be. And so departments, obviously identify any of those needed changes. Most fees are listed in a Code of Ordinances, Section 226. Some may be authorized in other sections of our code, but they all refer back to 226 for a specific dollar amount. And so tonight we're not really approving anything in this work session, but opening the discussion to see if City Council would like for us to prepare these ordinance amendments to take place on October 1st. For the fees and charges that we have discussed. And of course, we can bring those back at an actual regular council meeting at a later date. So the first group of fees we're considering is in regards to the Colleyville Library. The first 2 bullet points there for our STEAM kits, those are fees that don't actually exist currently. It's a relatively new program, and we don't have this that plugged into our ordinance at this point in time. So we've surveyed libraries, and we're recommending the STEAM kit rentals for a duration of 1 week, 1 per household, for $1 a day, and no automatic renewals. Additionally, any damage or replacement cost will simply pass right through to the customer who was in possession of the STEAM kit at the time.
Kyle, can you tell us what that is? I thought it was like renting out a steam carpet cleaner when I first saw it. I wasn't familiar with that, so can you explain what that is, please, to people?
It's so essentially these kits are learning kits, math, sciences, a little bit of the arts as well, that people can check out for their kids to sort of as an educational.
It's an activity kit of some sort, so they can build something or put something
Right,
together.
my kids are grown, so I'm
Right,
not familiar with them, so, okay.
Right,
So, just so everyone knows what they are out
Great-
there,
great
because I had
point.
no clue.
Some of us assume we all know, but you're right, sometimes we don't, so.
We get familiar with the acronyms. Other small changes. One is the price of color copies. The $1 per page has been there for a long time. After surveying libraries, we think we need to cut that in half. Very, very nominal fee and not much of an impact at all. Additionally, we no longer provide pamphlets, so we just need to formally remove the fees and restrictions for that. And that's essentially the changes for the Colleyville Library. Most revolve around the new STEAM kits in the STEAM program.
So I have a comment. I think the change from a STEAM kit being free for a week to $7 per week is a really big increase. So I'm actually not in favor of that. The other ones I completely support, including if there's damage, I think that, yes, you should pay to replace or repair damage. But I just think going from $0 to $7 a week is a pretty steep increase, I think. So I'm not in favor
What
of
does it
that.
consist of? Is it all paper, or is
No,
it?
it's actual physical materials. They're all
Like-
different. Could be Lego type things or
Okay.
art things. I mean, am I correct? I mean, my kids have not
Yes.
checked not often, but they're neat. They're really great, and they're constantly gone. I mean, they're very actively used in the community. So I don't know if even a nominal fee of $1 a week might be something reasonable, but I just think going from 0 to 7 for something so popular is quite high. Big
Well,
jump.
is there a reason for that? I mean, sometimes you need to charge some nominal fee just to make sure they're handled properly.
No, and I think asking that question is very appropriate. I agree.
Okay.
Well,
Would it make more sense then to do something more like a deposit in return?
I'd love to hear from the library or Kyle, somebody more.
Sure.
I think that's also a great idea.
And these are becoming more and more popular in the area, so you can take a look and come back and just sort of let you know what other cities have done.
how often do they have to be replaced? I mean, that's one thing I think we ought to consider, is that, if they're only good for, I don't know, 3 months or 6 months, And if they cost 20 or 30 bucks a piece, it might be a reasonable thing to figure that out and then charge pretty much on that basis.
Sure.
It's at least a year, because didn't we buy those just after we did the,
We've had them for about a year or so,
Yeah.
and they're fairly expensive. They're, I think, around $100 to $150 per kit.
That's what I figured.
So,
And the other problem was that they're not getting returned
Right.
frequently enough for others to use them. So that was, I think, the motivation behind the fee, even though I agree that the fee may be too high.
Well, I mean, and I know videos, for instance, DVDs or something, they have a very steep late return fee associated with them, don't they? So I don't know if that's maybe a deposit and a steep return fee, might be another approach. If we need to charge a fee, I'm not opposed to that. I just would love to see the rationale and make sure we have a good set of reasoning.
Can we put a limit on how long they keep it out, and then if they keep it over that, they're charged $1 a day or whatever we decide? And that way, it'll bring them back in time for other people to use those. Because I kind of agree with Kathy, just because we can charge it, I don't want to charge it. I mean, so let's look at that one again.
Yeah, I just think it should be enough so that people don't take it and just leave it in their house.
Exactly,
Agreed.
exactly.
You know, If they're
Yeah,
used a
So maybe a
lot.
$7 fee if there's not returned in
Yeah.
7 days.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily opposed to that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
something like
and that was
Yeah.
a thought to provide a kind of an incentive to bring it back so that other
Yeah.
people can check it
Sure.
out without the renewal option as well. Because books can be renewed
Right.
as long as there's not a hold, but these are
Right.
pretty popular.
No, and they are very in demand, I agree, so,
Yeah,
thank you.
something to focus on that. And then I would like to also know how often they need to be replaced.
Sure. Yes, we can bring that information back.
Thank you.
Consider that. We do have some utility fees that we're adding as well. Most of these are designed to be sort of a pass-through of any damage or lost or missing equipment that we have. Interestingly, we didn't have a damage fee, a meter damage fee put in place. So consistent kind of with what we talked about with the library, just the cost of the meter and the repairs is what we pass through. And increasing a bit on our fire meter deposit. A lot of technical things that are need to be repaired or replaced. If that's the case, we would essentially pass those costs through.
Kyle, is that fire hydrant meter deposit, is that if somebody's in a car wreck and runs over the meter or something like that? The fire hydrant, is that what that is?
No, ma'am, it's actually for instance, a construction company that would check out that meter and then utilize the fire hydrant as a source of water. And so it
Oh,
would
gotcha.
meter how much
Okay.
they were using.
Kyle, it's in the RPZ, which is a backflow preventer, so that water cannot enter the water supply. And so in order to be allowed to use a hydrant for construction use, we require that they put that meter on there and that valve on there to protect the water supply. And so this is just a deposit that they would leave with us to make sure they return it and pay.
Gotcha, so they get it, the money back when they return it?
Yeah,
Yes,
Pretty
ma'am.
much.
but they're very expensive, right?
Yeah, they're pretty good size and they're very heavy.
Yeah,
We have had
I've
some
seen
issues
those,
with them
yeah.
being returned promptly.
Well, that was, when you said that, that was my other thing. I noticed that, so you're taking a monthly test, a monthly reading on that. Are you doing any type of a fine for not having your meter read within a certain amount of time? Because I didn't see that in any of this either.
No, that sort of takes the place of or the deposit kind of takes the place of that, just to ensure that we get that back on a timely basis.
So if a contractor holds it for 6 months and uses a lot of water, you're gonna just take that money out of that. But what if that contractor decides to hold it for a year and just keep hold of it?
Yeah, let me, tell you, I'll come back with that on a little more information as well.
Okay,
Off
no
the top of my head, actually, I don't.
Just a basic question.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Or actually, yeah, that'd be great.
So, yes, Mayor Pro Tem, we do have the 2,500 feet deposit there for the actual system itself, and then if they don't, the fire hydrant meter reading is where we charge them if they're not bringing it back in a certain amount of time, and we also do take it away from the deposit,
So
depending
there
on how long
is,
they go.
so there is some type of fee if you don't have it read in time within the
Yes.
30 days or whatever, 45 days.
We don't right now, and that's why I'm adding the $25 one at the bottom of the list
yeah,
to get
that's
that
good.
going. And then also, if they don't bring it, the whole thing back, then we just take the 2,500 deposit and purchase another one.
Okay, I thought that hydrant meter reading was just, it wasn't a penalty, I thought it was just for each time that you read it, or if they call in, I guess that's. is
If
what
they
I was
call in or
looking
send us a picture, we're just trying to get them, because at the end of the month, we're chasing after them, trying to
Yeah.
get that meter reading.
at. Completely understand.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty good fee right there, $2,500. I mean, that's probably one of the highest ones, but those meters and backflow preventers are very expensive.
Yeah,
Very
the back,
expensive.
yeah, the backflow preventer is the biggest component of that.
Yes, sir. Excellent, thank you.
The next department proposing, and there really aren't increases, but to codify what we're currently already charging as Parks and Recreation for rec instructor compensation. Currently, we're, for indoor rec program instructors, they are keeping about 70% of the total fees collected. We keep the remaining 30. For outdoor rec program instructors, that increases to 80% of the fees collected. We keep 20%. This is consistent with what we've seen in surrounding cities as well. But again, this hasn't really been codified in our ordinance, so we're requesting that we
Just,
formally
well,
do that.
I've got a question on that, because we just got the paper from Lisa that Grapevine and Hearst get to keep 25%. So I'd like to see consideration for that. Maybe we can't change it immediately, but it seems to me like 20% for outdoor programs, and they're using our facilities, right? Yeah.
Are you saying it's high or low, George?
I would like to see us, the city, to get 25% instead of 20.
And see, I disagree with that. And Lisa, were you going to present something?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to help
Well-
clarify that statement, but.
I've had some emails from people that it's been a little bit different this year, and now what we're going to do down the road is different than what I'm going to be talking about here, because I've had some people that came to me that have had a hard time making it work, making any money or even paying their bills because, you know, they had a few weeks on, they had a few weeks off, they couldn't do it. And I would like to look at this just this year as how we've helped all of our other businesses. You know, we helped all of our restaurants, we helped all of our nail salons and everything else in the city with our cards and supporting them. And these are businesses, I look at them as a business anyway. And I know that they're struggling, and I want to see if there's anything that we can do for them this year, because I just feel getting numerous emails from people that they're really struggling on this program. They had 2 weeks that were shut down because of some cases and different things. So I would like to look at it as possibly giving them a 10% this year, and going back to regular when things get back to normal. But I just feel that these are businesses that, just because they don't have a brick and mortar, they're hurting like everybody else. And I know that because I've gotten some emails from them.
Good point.
Okay, well, I hadn't heard anything. Yeah, okay.
I think maybe they found that I was the conduit, and I've gotten numerous, not just one, I've gotten numerous from people that,
Well, who are they? Or is this part of the Ports Association or separate,
I'm sorry, say
independent?
it again.
I'm asking, I don't know who they are, or what the
independent
business are.
people. I can get that information to
Yeah.
you, exactly who they are.
Yeah, because
I don't
I'm
have it on
interested if, Lisa, you probably know the answer to this.
Yes,
Is part of the sports associations or separate from that?
separate. They're actually camps that are held out outside at our parks. So we have one right now at McPherson
Yeah.
Park. And so she has spoken to me personally, and as well as Tammy.
Okay, so the issue is because of the virus, the pandemic is the issue?
They can't put as many kids in their camps.
Yeah.
They were closed down 2 weeks. They had to give refunds back. They then had to pay the refund, credit card charges. So it's really hard for them this year to make any money whatsoever.
Yeah.
And
And they started late due
they
to
started
COVID.
2 weeks late, and numerous
There was-
things have added to it. And I just feel if we've helped everybody else, we need to help them this year also.
Have they been here more than just 1 year as well? They've been here several years, as a matter of fact, right?
They've been here about,
So they've been
3 or
good
4
stewards towards us, and
Yeah.
maybe this is one time we might want to consider helping
Okay.
them.
Yeah, so next time, could you come back with some information about how many there are, what they do? You have those information, right?
right now, I've only spoken to the one camp.
Okay.
You know, our other camps, unfortunately, due to COVID, have not been
Yeah.
making,
Well,
so.
the reason I'm asking for this information is if we do what Councilmember Nakamura is suggesting, then this applies to everybody.
Correct.
So how many is everybody and who are they? That's
Okay.
what I'm asking.
And you mean, are you looking really specifically at the summer for this question? Or
Say
some,
say it again, Kathy.
I just wanted to clarify, he's looking at the summer for this particular question? Or summer, I mean, I know that camp is a summer
Yeah.
camp, so that won't continue in the fall.
Correct. And
I'm just trying to
these become
clarify.
effective October 1st. Is that correct?
Correct.
Those are the
Correct.
new price.
So there's sort of two questions. There's this summer, maybe, and then there's the longer term.
Next
and-
fiscal year.
Yes, and George, I just wanted to say, some of these other cities that you're comparing, you know, that you're saying they're taking, or keeping, the city is keeping a larger percentage, I think they have different facilities than we have to offer at this time. I think as we do some renovations of our senior center, our facilities might be more in line with some of those, so that might be something we should consider.
Right,
as
and
we
and
evaluate
outdoor
this.
programs, I think, are different
That's
than
different.
indoor
Agreed.
programs,
Yeah.
exactly.
Agreed.
And I do understand that there is maintenance. I know Lisa does a great job at her people have to go and pick up the trash and do numerous things. So this year, maybe we won't be making money off of them. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just saying, and I feel that it's okay because of what's going on and that we need to help these small businesses.
Okay,
But a lot of them are outdoor programs.
understand.
Lisa, is that why the indoor program, the instructors get 10% less than the outdoor? Is that is there more
Yes,
maintenance
so-
required?
Well, that, and we really work without, the summer camps and the outdoor because they're, you know, out in the heat and they don't have the amenities such as an indoor facility with the AC and things of that nature.
Okay.
So, this summer's been super unique because we've had to limit our indoor activities to just 10 kids just due to the spacing that we have at the senior center. So, but we haven't had any issues with our indoor facilities, but we do have limited space to offer camps and classes. Yes, I've never seen any changes as long as I've been here, which is 8 years, as far as the percentages for the compensation of instructors.
Okay.
Correct.
Is that common in cities to have it different percentages?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
One last question. The information you gave us, are the other cities, it doesn't say if they're indoor or outdoor?
Right, they just gave us flat fees.
Okay.
Typically, you know, when we're calling, you know, they're just giving us, it's a front office person, so we're trying to get as much
Okay.
information as
Yeah.
possible. And so typically, these are just the flat fees that a lot of cities just provide.
Yeah.
We were just doing a 70-30 split, but we were really trying to work with instructors and especially outdoor instructors to help their camps make. So we
okay.
gave them a little bump in that. a
Very
couple
good.
years ago.
Thank you.
okay, that's fine. Appreciate it.
So how did we leave that? Is Lisa, you're going to come back with us on how many of those we have, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay, and then we'll decide at that point what we're going to do.
Yeah, we'll be voting on this at some point in the future in
Yeah,
the
this is a
council.
work session.
Yeah, in a resolution, or an ordinance, actually, I guess. Which is it? Either one.
So if we decide to do something to help these businesses out, then that can be retroactive? Is that what you're saying, or?
Well, it could be, I mean, but this has been about the fees we'll put in place in October. So you did raise a separate question.
I
That
did.
is, do we do anything different right now? So
Bring
I'm
that
taking
to
that to mean, do we do something different effective, make it effective now through October 1 before this becomes effective? We can take that up too, and you might think through that and come back with a recommendation, Lisa.
Mayor, we could also, if you'd like, for the next work session, we can bring an assessment of what it would involve as far as cost to retroactively go back this season and apply the different rate, or go forward and then give you that comparable so you can see the dollar impact. I don't think it'd be substantial.
Right, I just, you know, I just feel pretty strongly about this. I don't know if anybody else here does. I just know we've helped everyone else,
Yeah.
and they've come, and they're impacted just like the rest of them are, and you know, we're
Yeah.
financially in good shape, and I'd like to help them out.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
that's fair. Tammy, were both indoor and outdoor instructors reaching out to you, or was there more of one or the other?
More outdoor.
Okay.
Mhm.
So moving on, we do have a small fee proposal for community development. This would be a new fee, impervious coverage permit of $100. This would include 2 reviews and 2 inspections necessary for the new process, which would be impervious coverage regulation, which was added to the Land Development Code. So to sort of offset some staff time there. We do have several changes in Colleyville Center. I don't know if you've noticed, but a trend in particularly event staff is to add a sanitation fee per event, depending on the size and scope of the event. Could be between $50 and $75, and that would be new. Additionally, a decor fee for use of the courtyard space. Space use of 150 garden chairs for receptions. And some modification on our weekend rates. The Friday-Sunday rate for non-residents is currently $2,100, and we're proposing to increase that to $2,500. What tends to happen is that the rental time block was for 8 hours, but generally most clients needed the additional 2 hours at $250 an hour. So this would actually be a slight improvement on the time that we typically see them rent, rather than charging the $2,100 and then another $500 for the a la carte hours. Similar change for Saturday, a prime day, we go from $2,500 to $3,000. And as I mentioned, increase that rental block time from 8 hours to 10 hours. And then our resident rates currently enjoy a 20% discount from those rates, and we would continue to keep that codified.
Are these fees in line with other surrounding area type rental complexes? I mean, are these comparable? Sorry, say that better.
Adrian, maybe better to speak to that.
So Leslie typically every year does an analysis of just what, is fair, and these rates, obviously, this year's been a little bit different with committee meetings and COVID, but these rate recommendations were shared with the Colleyville Center Advisory Committee and received support from those citizens and nonprofits that are part of that advisory committee. And, from Leslie, Colleyville Center Manager's perspective, the net impact to the typical client at the center would really not have a dollar impact difference, because almost all of the clients that are renting for those prime weekend rates are adding the extra 2 hours of a la carte time because they need the additional setup. What often happens at the center is they will book the time and then say, well, can I come in early and bring stuff to decorate? Right. And, that's not allowed. You've got to, this is your specific hour of rental block. If you'd like to come in early to have additional setup time, here's the per hour rate for that. So almost always she finds that the clients will end up booking the extra hour or two to have that additional setup or cleanup time. And this simply, includes that automatically within the rate.
Great.
The last one is to officially codify the charges that we have all seen for the new Colleyville Business Center. I'll just go through them real quick. Rental of workstations, monthly fee would be $225. That would carry a 20% discount for our meeting room with a 24-hour access. A simple day pass would be $25 per day for use of the facility. To rent an office, monthly charge would be $600. Again, carrying that 20% discount for a meeting room, all-day access.
How many offices and how many workstations do we have?
There are 3 private offices and currently 10 workstations.
Okay.
Our vault meeting room would be $20 an hour, 2-hour minimum, fitting between 2 to 4 people. The boardroom would be $50 an hour, 2-hour minimum, could fit 12 people, and there's also a flat screen TV in there with some hookups. Virtual office is $99 a month. That includes a business address and mail. 20% for the discount for the meeting room. Use of that office would be 2 days a month, a workstation 2 days a month. And the entire facility could rent out for $750 per evening for a 3-hour block between 6 to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday. The renter would have to set up and tear down. And last one would be a simple mailbox, would be $50 a month, again, providing a business address and mailing.
So if they rent of an evening, do we have to have staff there to monitor it?
Yes, we would.
Okay.
And so we've discussed that depending on who is renting in the situation, it could be our Colleyville Business Center manager, Carolyn Sims, flexing out her hours per week. If it was a chamber event, clearly it would be them, in which case there would not be the fee because that would be part of their agreement. But We've also contemplated potentially having the labor pool staff that handles the nights and weekend events at the Colleyville Center coming over if Carolyn was not available.
Okay. Since I actually went over there, I wonder if you rent the vault meeting, if you actually get locked in there.
Only if you're not behaving.
That would be George.
That's the extent of my prepared slides, but I did want to bring up, there has been some discussion in the past about kind of an obscure fee for animal trapping that I know Keller charges, but there had been some interest in talking about it in the past. Basically, in a nutshell, you can check out an animal trap for no charge, but if you were to use your own trap and then ask city staff to come get it, there actually is a charge of $30. Again, I know there was some interest in discussing that in the past, so I just want to give any opportunity if we wanted to bring that up today.
What, I don't understand again.
Yeah, the way it works is, it's crazy. If you use animal control and you call them and ask for a trap to trap an animal, they'll provide the cage free, and if the animal is trapped, they'll come and take the animal and the cage away for free. But if you trap an animal in your own cage, they charge $30 to take it away.
To take the animal away?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so...
Unless you call Jerry, he'll come and get it for you.
Yeah, he'll come get it free.
Make sure it's a polecat.
Depends what kind of animal it is, no snakes.
Okay.
But, and so the question was, you know, really, should we provide that service for free? And as it's part of our combined department with Keller, of course, we'd have to talk to them about it. But if it came down to it, I think we could work with them and either get rid of the fee and pay an additional percentage of our costs associated with that department, or the city could somehow just incorporate that fee and consider it a cost of providing a service to residents. But it just seemed contrary.
Makes more sense to me that it shouldn't be a separate thing. I mean,
Do you know how many of those we get called on that have their own cage? Jerry, do you have any idea?
Not very many. I don't know, but it's not very many. But it is a strange question when it comes up.
It's crazy.
Because the traps that the animal control department provides are utilized a lot, and so they're in demand, and so a lot of residents will buy their own trap. And why would we want to penalize that?
I agree with that.
That doesn't make sense.
I'd like to see that done away with personally myself.
I agree.
So I think that we'll work with Keller on that and bring that back as part of our fee schedule if we need to, but hopefully we can provide that service free regardless of whether it's your trap or the animal control trap.
Yeah,
Very good.
okay.
Any more questions for Kyle?
No.
Nope.
Thank you, Kyle. We'll
Thank
move to agenda item 2, which is Tinker Road.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Ray Silvarez, Director of Public Works. Today, we're bringing before you the road alignment for Tinker Road. Go ahead and get going. So as you can see here, the Tinker Road will come from Pleasant Run Road all the way to State Highway 26. Tinker Road is identified in the 2015 Master Thoroughfare Plan as a major collector. In the past, we have not necessarily acclimated to what the thoroughfare plan shows. So what I'm bringing here before you is a couple options to show you, one, what it would look like if we did follow the thoroughfare plan, and maybe look at a hybrid of keeping the characteristics that we value here in the city of Colleyville. So there'll be a couple of the options that we'll run through here. Starting with the existing condition of Tinker Road, if we start from the west side and move into the east, you'll see that the intersection at Pleasant Run Road is a 21-foot wide road. And it's highlighted in blue, and as you can see the road alignment in the middle, you'll see each color change along with the picture that's being referenced here, just to give you an idea of where we're at and what the street section looks there. As you move on to the green one, which is near Jewel Estates, you'll see that the road section in there increases to 40-foot wide section. And then as you come back down, you'll see that the road reduces to 21 foot, and it also has a sidewalk on the north side, I believe is where it's at. And then as you come down to the yellow section, it's still a 21-foot road section, but with no sidewalks on that side, on either side. And then as you're approaching the Kingston Drive, going towards 26, it reduces down, or it increases back up to a 37-foot wide road. So that's kind of give you an idea of how that road changes from one side to the other. Again, as I stated earlier, it's a major collector. So typically, the major collector is a 36-foot wide roadway with 12-foot travel lanes on each side. And it also can differ from the 36-foot all the way up to a 42-foot road as well. And so we're going to see variations of those as we add left turn pockets throughout the alignment. And we're going to discuss some of those options here in the next slide. So the options that I have here before you, option 1 and option 2, the first option will kind of mimic what the thoroughfare plan shows, what it should be. Option 2 will kind of show a little of a deviation in the middle of the alignment. But both option 1 and option 2 will have curb and gutter, so that we are going to improve the underground storm sewer system in this one, as well as the water and wastewater with this project. And it also will have sidewalks on both sides is what we're looking to propose for both options. Okay, so starting with option 1. So here, just kind of as we did when we looked at the existing alignment, we'll have it shown down there in the bottom, the red and the yellow, and back to the red sections denote the different road sections that we'll be going through. So this option 1 here will start off with a 35-foot road section and try to preserve the widened existing section of the Jewel Estates entrance to 40 feet. This option here will require removal of 17 trees, and it will require about 9 right-of-way parcels as well. So that's the option 1 to kind of keep true what the thoroughfare plan recommends.
Ray, when you say 17 trees, that's for the road itself, not the sidewalk, correct?
Correct, for the road itself to do all the winding.
Is that on the north or the south side?
That part,
Do you recall?
I don't recall. I know it's in here.
You can
It's mostly
see-
on the south side. You can see it a little bit.
You can
in there.
see them on the south side if you go back.
I want to say they're mostly on the south, and it looks like it is. Let me go back.
Yeah, you see them, they're almost all, there's a few, just a few on the
So
north.
denoted by the red line.
Almost all of them are on the south.
So that would be to stick to what the traditional, or what our thoroughfare plan calls for, would be
Which is
that,
the widening of it?
just to widen the road, to widen the road in certain sections. So we're looking at 2 sections here, so let me go back to it. So you can see it here is red, yellow, and red, and here in this option, you'll see what I mean. So this option here is a 35-foot road section. You'll have your shoulder, which would be 6 feet shoulders on each side for the one on your left, and you'll have a left turn pocket in here, not on this one here, you will on the Jewel Estate. So as we're going from the Pleasant Run Road on over to the east, as we get into Jewel, we're gonna stripe a left turn pocket in here. It's not shown in this section here on the far right, but this one is a 40-foot road section. So you'll have your 12-foot travel lanes plus the left turn pocket turning into Jewel Estates.
So this is 1 lane each way with a turn lane, this one here.
The one on the left, you
Right.
won't have a turn lane.
I guess I was
Yeah.
pointing at the red, so
Yeah,
the one on the left.
Yeah, so the one on the red, you won't have a left turn pocket on that one. You will on the yellow one. So it goes, so the red one coming off of Pleasant Run Road, it would just be 2 travel lane, one each way. As you pull up to the wider section that currently exists there, you'll have the left turn pocket in there to facilitate the Jewel Estate subdivision to the north.
And everything's done inside the right-of-way? No eminent domain,
No.
anything?
No, there will be some
On the-
right-of-way
on this one?
acquisition, but yes,
So we're gonna have to do some ROW acquisitions?
yes, there will be some right-of-way acquisition. And this is just to maintain the true nature of what we identified in the thoroughfare plan. And then once you get past the Jewel Estates, you'll go back down to the 31-foot section.
Mhm.
In this section here, as you approach the Kingston Estates, and let me go back to my notes. Yeah, the Kingston Estates, you'll have a left turn pocket in there as well to accommodate the traffic. And then also as you get to Ponderosa as well. So you'll have certain sections that will be striped for the left turn pocket, but most of the point, you'll have just the one-way traffic each way. And that's just trying to preserve that 41-foot section that currently exists now.
Right, my concern is, and let me put it out there, I live there. I live right on that section that's the wide section right now. And my concern is adding anything else on there. They speed down through there like it is a race course, let me tell you. And my concern is if you add that on there, that they're just gonna go even faster. So I just want everybody to know, I watch it on a daily basis, and I have a major concern on the speed there.
Okay. Well, we can take a look at that. We'll just roll on to option 2. Let me go there real quick. This one here adds a different element. So the blue part here, will reduce the road down to 30 feet. So again, you're still looking at wide travel lanes, but it's just a way we're just trying to keep the 41-foot section still going, the part in yellow that exists already, trying to maintain and preserve that road section, but we would reduce it by another 5 feet right there, just mainly because that area where you see highlighted in blue is just it's just the residential homes front Tinker Road, so there's no need for a left turn pocket into either subdivision on that side.
It looks like this still requires the same amount of right-of-way acquisition. So what does this
Yeah, so,
do for us?
so
Like,
on this
what's
one
the-
here, with reducing the middle section right there, we're only gonna take away, since we value trees here in the city of Colleyville, it reduces it from 17 down to 8.
Okay, got
So
it.
that's one element that we looked, just because we're trying to preserve the existing concrete or road section that you have there, plus see how we can handle the trees. So that's an option that we came up with here.
So you're saying without the turn lane, it goes down to 8? Is that, did I miss that point, Ray?
So, yeah, no, so the middle section right there, where it's just fronted by the bunch of residential
blue.
homes, the blue
blue.
section, we will reduce that section of the road down to 30 foot, which saves us an additional, was it 9 trees or so?
It saves
That's an
every
option
trees.
too,
Yep.
that we're looking
Yeah.
at, right?
So it reduces the amount of trees that have to be taken out. And one thing that we always do with any project is, yeah, we do show that trees are gonna be removed, but we try to give that tree a fighting chance, so we'll work with the contractor as we have in other projects, and if it can be saved, even though it may be designated to be taken out, we try to leave it there and see what happens. So, if it has a good chance of living. So it's something we team up with the arborists that we have here as well. So that's option 2. The only difference here is that we're adding that 30-foot road section here as well. And you will have the streets on both sides that we will be able to maneuver around any obstacles that we need to. Again, both options will include the water, wastewater, and storm sewer improvements. And so here's just a look at the cross-section of those that we talked about earlier. And you will have some shoulders on each option as well, or each cross-section here as you go from the 40-foot to the 35-foot to the 30-foot section. You will have some opportunities to have some shoulders as well as part of the back of curb.
What size sidewalks?
So the sidewalks, we're looking at 5-foot sidewalks, 5-foot wide sidewalks on both sides.
Okay.
Why did we decide to have sidewalks on both sides? And let me ask you, and the reason I'm asking is I looked at it today, and most of the sidewalks that are there are on the north side. There's one house that has a sidewalk in front of it on the south side right now. It's kind of one of those sidewalks to nowhere. But the north side has it all the way from Pleasant Run in front of the church, all the way down to Jewel Estates, and then 2 more houses, skips a house, and then it goes to another house. So why do we feel that we need it on both sides?
So one of the things is connecting Pleasant Run Road, which has the trail on Pleasant Run Road, and it connects us. Tinker would be a connection point from Pleasant Run Road to 26, where you can also.
But they could cross over the street, over to the church, and go down that side.
So-
And the reason I say that, and I'm not, even though I live on the other side, I don't care one way or the other, my yard, I have plenty of room. But it's going to really crowd those houses, and do we need sidewalks on both sides, is my point that I'm making here.
And you don't need sidewalks on both sides. It's just a proposal proposed cross-section that we're showing here. If we want to remove one of the sidewalk sections, we can.
Well, go ahead, Jerry.
I was just saying, and if we were only doing sidewalks on one side, we could just provide for crosswalks at various points
Yeah.
along the way. And Ray, a similar conversation, I noticed that not so much on this plan with the blue, but on the other, you have that 6-foot transition that allows for a distance of 6 feet between the cars lane and the curb and gutter. And so were you proposing that to be a bike lane, or was that going to be
So,
striped?
and that's what something I was going to bring up. You could use the wider road sections as a bike lane if you wanted to, because you'll have quite a bit of shoulder room as well in that point. So we can have a dual use of that shoulder,
And so
similar
in-
to what
That's
Cheeks Parker would be.
And so in the option though, where you have the blue section where the road chokes down in size, that would then diminish that section, because it's only, I think, 3 feet wide.
Yeah, it's only 3 feet wide on that one.
And so that's something that needs to be discussed, because on one hand, the wider lanes provide for that bike lane, and that a safer roadway, it's wider, but the wider the lanes are, the more propensity people have to drive faster.
Yeah.
And so the blue section does kind of provide that effect of slowing people down, because it does thin the road a bit as far as its width, but then that would remove the possibility of a bike lane in that section. So those are things you may want to consider either on both sides, either side, or neither. As
I
a way
like
to-
the idea of the bike lane, because I walked up and down that road a couple weeks ago, and you guys know I'm not scared of many things, but I'm telling you, I feared for my life there, okay? The cars were going so fast, and there was no room for anybody to make a mistake there. So having those bike lanes, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I had not thought of that.
Yeah, I would propose that maybe a reason to have sidewalks on both sides. I drive in the mornings a lot when school going on. Of course, school's not going on now, and I've noticed on Pleasant Run, kids coming out of subdivisions and parents walking to the elementary, quite a few of them. Because I turn on Hardage a lot, so I see them crossing there. I have to really watch. So there is, because of the school, it's not too far away. There's a lot of foot traffic going to the school. So, so the bottom line of that is the less they have to cross streets, the better off they are.
So there's no parking on either side then?
So that's something we can discuss here. Again, this is just our first stab at this alignment.
understand,
And so same with the sidewalk situation and with the shoulders. Right now, we propose it with no parking, but it's something we can discuss and see if it's something that's needed out there. It would require a little bit more width as far as you'll need at least 10 feet of shoulder there to park a car safely and have other traffic going on out there.
Oh, you're talking about parking on the
Street.
actual
On
street?
street parking.
On the street, yeah. And so one of the concepts could be if you did not want to do the bike lanes, or if you wanted to do a sidewalk on one side, these are all things that would change the alignment of the road and then would allow for that question to be posed. If you have 6 feet of lane on either side that's not being utilized for a bike lane, you could restripe the configuration of the road to provide striped parking on one side or the other.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different options
Yeah.
that really are driven by the road width, because the storm sewer system is all going to be underground. So all of the ditches and things that are there now won't be in place. So there's a lot of flexibility once you decide the width.
Yeah, it seems to me because there's so many houses on both sides, that there's not side street parking capabilities, that having parking on one side, I think, would make sense, but just a thought.
Go ahead, Bob.
No, you go ahead, because I know that you live on the street. I got a technical
I'm
question.
just a little
afterwards.
worried about the houses, and I see a lot of people here. I don't know if anybody's here for that or not. I'd like to have some input, but I know down where it's so narrow, we have to be very cautious of what we do there, so we don't go up to their front door. We don't want another glade issue,
No.
Oh, absolutely.
on our.
I agree.
I got more of a technical question. Have we done a hydraulic study if we put in curbs and new drainage? We already have swollen creeks and stuff like that, and, to me, when you put the curbs and the new drainage in, we're gonna speed that water up. We're gonna put more water inside those creeks. We know those are pretty good-sized lots, and a lot of impervious stuff that'll take the drainage, that'll actually funnel that water, and it's a unique street, and I know it does its little weird pervies, in and outs, but I think that the water might be an issue, really and truly, if we take that whole stretch of Tinker and start putting curbs and gutter in it.
So we do have the drainage study being looked at right now for that section. We haven't looked at downstream effects as far as where it's going to the ultimate place down the.
Ray,
Big
say
Bear
that
Creek.
again. I couldn't hear a word you said.
So we have looked at the drainage area basin for this road to collect the stormwater. As far as the downstream effects goes, we have not done a hydrological study to that point. We know it's all going there, but yes, it is maybe taking a little bit longer to get there. Now with the allowing the underground storm sewers to get it there faster. I know that the channel over there at 26 and Tinker has been sized to handle that coming there. So we can take a closer look at that as well and see what the downstream effects would be.
Okay, and then I guess my second question is, have we sent anything out to the residents in that area that just says, hey, this is coming, what's your ideas? Have you gotten any type of feedback? Because I haven't seen any emails at all.
No, we haven't even, this is the first stab we've taken it. We wanted to present it to you guys first.
Okay.
And then kind of based on your direction as to where you want us to go, we can facilitate resident feedback.
Okay.
I sent something out to everyone.
You did?
I
Okay.
did. Everybody along Tinker. I sent it out just so they know what was happening.
And again, we're still at the very beginning of this design, so we're just putting something down on paper here, showing it before you guys, and then trying to get some feedback, and then we can try to go back to the residents and see what we need to include.
Yes, I think they are, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I said that.
And
Ma'am, we can't hear you. Could you come up to the mic? And by the way, just as a process question, I need to talk to staff. We're not going to have time to do the drainage today
Yeah.
if we continue with this. I'm sorry. You state your name and address when you get there.
My name is Elaine Fisher. We live at 1213 Tinker Road.
Okay.
I do have some concerns. One thing you brought up was about room for bicyclers. I personally am opposed to that. It's a very busy road. I would not want to encourage bicyclers to be using all or any of it, or invited to do that, I guess, in my mind. I would love to see a sidewalk of some sort. I don't care if it's on both sides. I don't think you have room on both sides, to tell you the truth. But, I mean, that's one of my concerns. I like to walk. Since I moved in here, I complain about that to my husband because I have to get all the way down the street to get to a walkway, and then it really goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would be very much I would like to see a sidewalk of some sort. You know, and the one end is really quite narrow, you know, as you're going toward Pleasant Run. And then there's, you know, there's kind of the ditches that are, you know, I don't know how you're going to widen that up, but, you know, in that part, I mean, you're driving on a pretty narrow road right now with lots of ruts.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you're thinking about doing something with it. So anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I say something?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. My name is Gerald Ussery. I live at 1008 Tinker Road, north side. It's the last house before you get to the Catholic Church. In normal times, beyond the shelter and home situation we have now, on Saturday evening and Sunday morning, despite adequate parking on the church's facility, our street, Tinker Road, is jam-packed bumper to bumper with people parking their cars.
Wow.
It's dangerous because from our house down toward Pleasant Run, it's a small hill.
It's narrow.
And it's coming up. And just as it gets to our house, it flattens out. And if somebody's coming up that hill and we're coming out of our driveway and all these cars are parked, it's dangerous. So I would appreciate it if you consider the church's parking situation and, quite frankly, a dangerous situation. And this police officer here has probably seen it when you drive down Tinker Road on a Sunday morning. So thank you for your time.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up. I have till 6:30. I have to stop the meeting at 6:30, so we have 10 minutes.
I'm Dale Bear here with my wife Mary Ann. We live on 1410 on the north side of Tinker, a narrow part. And I've heard talk about prioritizing the saving the trees. Well, we got two large 200-year-old mature post oaks out front that are earmarked for tearing out, that we don't have a large setback. I mean, that's a major part of our front yard, and it's like completely ruined the yard to do that. And I hear you need a 75-foot wide right-of-way to tear out the trees 17. Anyway, I'm just trying to see what kind of priority they'd be giving to saving the trees, because it completely ruined the yard.
Yeah. Are you on the narrow part of the road, or?
Yes, it's on the
Okay.
narrow, it's it's in the, back to the.
Purple?
Purple?
It is the purple.
Okay, there was a different part.
Yeah.
Closer,
Closer to
Go to
26?
go to the very first one. There you go.
okay, yeah, it's in the red section.
That
It's- We
first
don't have a
red
large
section?
setback, so you do that, it takes like a huge amount
Okay.
of the yard, plus the best trees that are irreplaceable. It'll take a couple hundred years to replace them.
Yeah.
What's your address again, sir?
1410.
1410.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know what they're talking about, Ray, as far as for yourself to go out, whenever we go out to look? And
1410.
okay, I didn't know if you already knew about those huge trees.
No.
Okay.
I would go back and take a look at it.
Okay. All right, yeah, we want to be real sensitive with that, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think we should make sure the setbacks and
So,
the trees,
one-
things of those.
One thing to clarify, the right-of-way itself will not take out trees. That's why the road section itself, we're trying to keep that narrow. That's what will take out trees. So the right-of-way itself, regardless of the width, whatever it doesn't, that's just a line that shows where the private property line begins.
I understand.
Yes. So we
Will
would,
will the drainage do it? Or are you gonna drainage all in the right of way?
we're gonna try to put most of the drainage in underneath the road,
Okay,
and then same with the water sewer. And so the sidewalk, we always try to go around trees
Yeah.
when we can. That's
Yeah.
one thing we always do around here.
Yeah.
We've done it with Glade Road.
Right.
And so just to, so that when I say 75 feet of right away or up to 75 feet away, right away, doesn't mean necessarily it's gonna take away trees. It's the
Right.
road section itself.
So if
Yeah,
we do,
before we get through with this, so everybody in the audience knows, this is the first discussion, but this will go all the way through to actual big engineering drawings that actually show exactly how it's gonna be, your sidewalks will be routed and everything, and all the trees will be marked, so.
And I
There'll be more discussions you'll have an opportunity to see.
and I can promise, we're going to be very sensitive about those
Yeah.
trees. I won't be in favor if we're taking big stuff down. Honestly, I'm not, I'm kind of construction out a little bit right now, and knowing that Glade Road's fixing to kick on, and I've already been talking about, to a lot of people over there, and then we're talking about this. I know it may be a next year project, but
Yeah, it's a 2021.
right, 2021. I just want to be real sensitive about what we're doing and how we're adjusting things on the road and the construction again. And I'll be very, very sensitive of what's happening in the area for the neighbors on my portion.
Absolutely. And again, as I stated earlier, this is just our first stab at it. We still
sir.
have a lot of bugs to work out. We just wanted to show you, here's what we're thinking, the way we're going, and then we'll get out there and start looking more
Hey,
detailed.
And I appreciate the ideas, honestly, so that we can look and see. Absolutely. Sorry, Mayor, go ahead.
And so.
I was just gonna say what we've done in the past, and I assume, I mean, it's up to you, but I suspect as you get into design, we've had meetings with citizens, where they can come, actually, we have show and tell, so we can look at it and talk to
Lay it
the
out
staff.
lay it down on the table.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we've done that with Cheeks Barger as well.
Right.
So again, just the first step, wanted you,
Right.
council,
Yeah.
to take a first look at it, and then from there, we'll go and explore other options.
Great.
So these are the two options we're looking at.
Mhm.
And then one thing, I'll go ahead and jump in. The intersection of Pleasant Run and Tinker is one of those special intersection items that we consider. Historically, council's always gone to go, or has opted to go with the roundabout, which would fit in this area. It would be more similar to the size of the McCain Westcote roundabout that we're doing, and it would be a one lane. Also, we can look at doing 2 lanes for the westbound on Tinker, one left, one right. And then you also have a left turn pocket coming from Pleasant Run to the south of that, coming south to that intersection. So we'll be looking at that type of intersections. So that's one thing that we ask, that I'm asking the council, is what would they like to see there for that intersection consideration?
My concern on a roundabout there is going to bring more and more traffic down Tinker. That's just my personal concern. Because when you can get through there real quick, it's like, let's zip down Tinker and go fast. That's just my concern.
I agree with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love roundabouts, don't get me wrong, but I personally don't think that, because I watch the traffic there, and it really doesn't back up that bad, and it goes pretty quickly, because I always go back that way for the most part instead of getting on 26. And so I've been watching it, and I don't feel that we need a roundabout there personally. That's just my personal opinion. But I would like to hear from everybody else. And I would like to see a meeting like we've done for the other ones, Ray, when we get closer, to invite all of the,
Do we have any traffic studies on that intersection?
Yes, we
that would
did do
help
one.
us?
Yes,
Oh, okay,
those were
good.
the 2 that were recommended. Something has to be done at that intersection. At the very minimum would be those turn pockets that I talked about, adding 3 lanes at that intersection, which would get us by. But the roundabout would also work as well, and it would be more efficient in getting traffic in and out. So that's why we're considering this with council.
Just to clarify, what he's talking about is if you weren't going to do a roundabout, you just add a right turn lane and a left turn lane so that people heading westbound could turn north or south without waiting for another car in front of them. And so you could then also have a right turn lane off of Pleasant Run, but the intersection would look generally the way it is now. It would just be widened to add those turn lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have a problem with the church traffic as well. You start putting that in there, there's not a stop time in between. Cars are gonna continuously flow, and at least the stop sign now gives that itty bitty break that you get right at that corner, but and for somebody to come in and out of their driveways. So
Is there anything that can be done with that church traffic? I mean, hey, I love
They could buy the
churches,
lot
don't
across
get me
the
wrong. I mean, is there lack of parking spaces on Sunday? Adrian goes to that church, I know that. So they're just parking on that road because they're used to parking on it, is that correct? Is there a way that we can do no parking on there or something?
Yeah, I wonder if we shouldn't consider no parking
We could
in that
enact no
section,
parking.
so it's so narrow.
Yeah, we could enact no parking regulations during certain times. The dilemma in doing that is that if you do that, unfortunately, you then often have residents who park there as well.
Sure.
And so the way to deal with that is either some type of, a designation or some type of a
During
sticker
service
or a
times, yeah.
pass, and it becomes complicated. So we've tried to avoid that. But that is one mechanism to just prohibit parking on that side of the road between certain hours or certain days, and then just, hope that we don't get a resident or a visitor to a resident's home caught up in that.
Yeah.
I don't know that Sunday morning I've ever seen, well, I take that back, there's cars there all the time. But I don't see cars out there any other time except on Sundays. And I mean, I don't want to keep people from going to church because God knows we need lots of people to go to church. But if there's lots of spaces back there, as Adrian says, I think they probably just do this out of habit. And this gentleman here, like he says, he fears for his life coming out of there. And that's kind of scary.
We could put informational signs up that basically say, church parking prohibited. The
Yeah.
difference between an informational sign and a regulatory sign would be the enforcement.
Right.
Can we also just reach out to Good Shepherd?
That's
and
what I
ask
was
them to do
gonna
a
say.
courtesy informational to their,
Do that for.
Yeah, we have, this has been before traffic advisory a couple of times, and we can do that again.
both
But
things,
it's definitely a problem, and it's, for whatever reason, people within the congregation prefer to park there, I believe, and so they just do so. I agree, there's plenty of parking, other places they could park. And so we could talk with the church as well, absolutely.
I would like
Yeah.
to get them involved when we get closer.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know we're running out of time, but I want to say this. Ray's on our team, and he works with us, and whatever you guys think that you need to hear or see or whatever, he's on your team as well. He works for you, and so please don't hesitate to talk to him or tell him what you feel or what your concerns are. He's not working against us, so our questions sometimes seem directed at him. He's bringing us the ideas, so I want you to feel comfortable that guy right there, if you need us, the staff, whoever, we're working for you guys, so make sure that you reach out to us and let us know your concerns and what you
Yeah,
see.
and you can call any of us also. I mean,
Yeah. Absolutely.
we want to know what you need and what you want.
All right.
Very good.
So-
It is
Thank you, Ray.
now 6:30.
Perfect
So I'm
timing.
closing this meeting,
Any
so we can
residents
go
would
to the
like-
next one. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much, buddy.
I really apologize for not getting to the drainage. I know you came just to do that, so you'll have to come back, and we'll welcome you. The last thing I want to say before we leave the work session is, we have 2 tabled ordinances tonight for the Bluebonnet Cemetery site. They will remain tabled. We do have some information from them that the city staff has reviewed, but there still has to be the meeting with the citizens. We committed to do that before we take those off the table, so they'll stay on the table tonight. So with that, I'm going to close, and thank you all for coming. Close the work session, and we're now moving into executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, Section 551.071 Legal, Section 551.072 Real Estate, and Section 551.087 Economic Development. So we're now in executive session, and we're moving to the executive conference room.